Hi, I'm Paul Brodie. We're back in the shop. Thanks for joining us. Some guy called Mitch behind the cameras, but I think you know him. I got a story for you. It happened last week. As part of the chemo that I'm on, I go for a blood test every month. So I go to the hospital, and at the blood test, they always ask the same questions. What's your name? What's your birthday? So I tell them my name and my birthday, and I say 1955. And she's about, I don't know, 35 or 40 years old. She says, "Oh, old." And then as she's taking my blood, she asks me, she says, "So, are you still driving?" It's like, yes, and I ride bicycles and I ride motorcycles too. Oh, so anyway, that's a little bit of what I go through. So we're going to work on the Rocky Mountain frame again. This is part 2. And we're going to put in a reinforcement tube between the seat stay and the chain stay. I have some tubing here, and I'm going to show you how I roll this. So this was rolled around this. This is a piece of PVC, a tubing, I guess, and I put a 2x4 inside it so I can squeeze it in the vise. And then I pull this around. Now this is too large for the rotor. Got a 160 rotor on there. So I got a smaller tube, and this is actually a little too small. So I got some tubing here. This is 5/16. This is a 3/8. So I'm going to show you how I bend this around this tube in the vise, and then because this is going to be a little bit too small, I'm going to open it up a little bit, and then we'll take a hacksaw. I'll cut it off. I'll file it, make it fit the stays. Okay, let's do this. So this tube is, I'm not sure how big it is. It's 5 1/4, and I should probably have a 6-inch tube, but I don't. So we're going to make this work. So what I'm going to do is to squeeze it in the vise until it basically flattens out, and then I just bring it round. It's hydraulic tubing. It's seamless. It's very nice stuff. I think the wall thickness is 0.35. So it's not super expensive, but it's really nice tubing. So there we go. Okay. So you can see I got the 2 different sizes, and I really want something that's in between. So let's go over to the bike here. So can you see how it's a little bit small? I want it to start right about here and go up to here. So if I take off the rotor, can you see how it's a little bit too small? So let's put it back in the vise and let's open this up a little bit. Doesn't take much to open it up. Okay, I like that. You see how that right here, it basically matches the radius of the rotor. So we're going to hacksaw now. We'll go from there. And then I'll go over to the frame and figure out how long that's got to be. Who knew that a Rocky frame would be getting such a lot of attention? It's a frame that I had out in my shed. I think we'll try that. Okay, so let's see how that's going to fit here. I think that'll be fine. So I just take a file now and I file a little bit of a radius in there. And I want this to match the radius of the rotor. I have to clean everything well for the nickel silvering. Okay, so let's see how this fits. And I check it this way. Oh, this looks good that way too. So what I'm going to do is to make some marks. So then I know exactly where it goes. So I got a curved tube in here. You can have a tube which is unbent, a straight tube. And I've also seen some people do it this way, which I think looks terrible. I like the curve. I like it when it matches the rotor. I've got this in position. If I tack it on the top, it's going to lift up. So what I need to do is to tack it on the bottom. I got to get down on my knees a bit, and I tack it on the bottom so that it pulls down. That's what goes through my mind. So feels good to be back using the torch again. I like machining, but it's nice to braze as well. Okay. Here's my tack. So now I can put this horizontal now. I worked for Rocky Mountain from 84 till 86, and that's when I took off and I started Brodie bikes in the basement of a house I was living in with my sister. Those were exciting times. Mountain biking was just booming. It's different now. So I heat it up and I let the nickel silver wick around. Add a little bit. I don't have the cone really close. I'm maybe ½ inch away, something like that. Okay, it's pretty smooth. You can see the smoke coming off the paint a little bit there. Next on the list is a thread for the derailleur hanger, because there's no thread in there. I only noticed that a little while ago. So I've never actually done this before, but I'm going to make an insert on the lathe. Going to nickel silver it in. So the first thing to do here is to make sure alignment of the dropouts is good. I've got the Campy tools here. So I'm going to hold this in the vise. Align the dropouts, and then this is bent. So I'll make it a little better than what it is. So it's a little bit out, so I'll give it a little bit of a, there we go. And this one's got to come up a little bit. Okay. Little more. Okay. There you go. It's easier like that. Okay, that looks good. Can you see how the hanger is bent? See how it curves around like that? So I'm going to hold it here, and then I can bend it. So this holds the dropouts really secure. Then I can put this into the vise. Okay, let's see what happens. Okay, that looks better. So I've got my slotted holder here. Oh, look at that. So the size is like 465, something like that. So I can start with 1/2-inch rod, just mild steel, and then I drill a hole, I tap it, pot it off, nickel silver it in. Pretty exciting, eh? Got some cold rolled, a little bit rusty, but not to worry. I'm going back to the vise now. I'm going to hand tap it, and then I'll turn down the OD, and then we'll do an installation. Oh, that's a good fit. Okay. Oh. Okay, we have a thread now. Can you see that? The insert is in there, so I'm going to do a little nickel silver ring around there and see what happens. Oh, look at that. I don't know if you can see it, but that nickel silver is just wicking around nicely. It's not going to come out. What's next is, because it's got a disc brake on it now, I'm going to knock off the canty bosses and also this hanger. So we're going to go outside. We're going to use the angle grinder with a thin disc, and then I'll file this one down, and the other ones I'll do later. Then I'll soak off the flux. I'll run the tap through, and then I'll align this. I'll put a wheel in there, and I'll show you how I align it. Looks good to me. Okay, I've chased the thread. Got a wheel. So what I'm doing now is making sure that the dropout hanger is aligned. And that's where this tool is used. Haven't used this in a long time. So it feeds into the thread like that. And you see how I can move it up like that and like that. And I want to make sure that it's the same distance. And if it's not, I use this as a lever to align it. So here I've got about a thumb width, and so it's got to come this way a little bit. See it bending? So if I pull it out like that, got a little bit of space, and here I've got a little bit of space. So that's pretty darn good. Okay, so that's a fix. So the last thing to do is to put the braze on. And this is going to go, I'm going to move this over to the stand, then you can see better. So this is what holds the cable, and I want this to be right beside the tire, because if I put it down here, in theory it could go in, and that's too high. So we're going to put it right about there. Now just put a mark there, and a mark there, and that's going to get silver soldered on. So what's going to happen is the cable is going to run from off the caliper up to here, and then it's going to go into here. So I don't have to change any of these. It's cable operated. So it'll be nice. 88 hammer, fixed up for a new owner somewhere. I don't know where. Okay. That's on. That's all there is to it. And that is our video for today. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. It's all bicycle related, so a thumbs up for the bicycle crowd. Please like, subscribe. You know we like coffee. That helps us a lot. See you next time.